It is incredible to think that only 4 years ago, we were just names. Names on applications with just enough room for 2 short essays and a bullet point list of things we had done. We were just names being crossed and checked against thousands of other applicants. We were just names. We weren't consultants yet, or co-chairs. We weren't bartenders or bosses. We weren't analysts or entrepreneurs. We weren't even here yet. But someone thought we should be. To Dean Saunders, Director Goodspeed, and distinguished members of the faculty and administration who join us tonight, we are here because you saw us as more than just names before we came, and because you treated us as more than just numbers when we arrived. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the 5th Annual Dean Scene. Now to the class of 2013. We have come, we have seen, and if you didn't already know, we have conquered. We have conquered the fears we had 4 years ago and the tests of life that university has given us. We have arrived, and it is my pleasure to welcome you tonight. Tonight, let us embrace each other and celebrate our achievements. Let us remember some things we have forgotten, and depending on the liquor situation afterwards, forget some things we have remembered. Let us commemorate our time together, the good and the not so good. And let us bid a fond farewell that is not goodbye, but see you later. There have been only 2 times in 4 years that all 300 of us have been in the same room. And when I reflect upon this fact, I cannot help but wonder if perhaps this was on purpose. The first was at the very beginning of our journey. Tired from running, cheering, and changing our socks, we were ushered into a hall very much like this. Looking around, you knew almost no one. You wondered who you would get to know and how you would get to know them. You wondered what courses would be like, if cafeteria food would taste good. You wondered if your fake ID would work. Sitting in those seats, remember if you can, you wondered if you would fit in. You wondered if you would stand out. 4 years later, at the end of our journey, almost poetically on the last day of classes, we sit together once more. Looking around now, you know almost everyone. You have friends for life. Friends you say hi to or smile at when you see. Some of you have friendships with complicated histories. Some of you have friendships with benefits. And some of you have fallen in love. You know more than you did 4 years ago about yourself, about others, and about life, because interwoven in the fabric of our business curriculum, hiding between slide decks and textbooks, have been words of wisdom. Lessons that were as relevant to our commerce education then as they are to our lives now. And they began with our first course. In Com 103, our Introduction to Business, we learned about decisions and the importance of sacrifice. That companies cannot sell all products to all customers, and that we cannot be all things to all people. We learned about competition, that some fish swim alone, but that those who do are often the ones who discover life's blue oceans. In Com 111, that same year, we were students of 3 wise men. Men wise beyond their years, which is impressive considering their combined age was 479. From them, we learned fundamental fundamental principles of valuation, that the measure of a company's worth is the present value of their projected future cash flows, and that the measure of an individual is not simply where they have been, that is important, but also where they are going. Of course, in COM 112, we learned that lap dances were not deductible expenses. Which is, I mean, it is equally significant, I think. If you are still keeping receipts, by the way, Professor Boland has asked that you recycle those when you get a chance. In COM 132, we learned once more about marketing. I think. I mean, we learned that testing cosmetic products on animals is okay. Not okay, right? We learned that the most effective examination of what we know and what we were taught is to test what we do not know. And what we were not taught. But I think from JP, most importantly, we learned that life is shit. It's good shit. And to reflect on a final course, COM 181, we learned that employees are an organization's greatest asset, and that the people in our lives are our greatest treasure. That we should be open to new relationships, but also willing to part with old ones when our happiness is in jeopardy. With each course, the lessons we learned seemed to grow increasingly personal, and the more our year began to resemble a dating couple. After all, it was on our first anniversary that we decided to move in together. Picking out a house to suit our budget and lifestyle needs. We made matching keys and moved our furniture in. We argued about whose family dishes we would keep, whose hand-me-down chairs we would sit on. We argued about who would cook dinner, but mostly about who would clean afterwards. And we figured it out, as couples do. We made families. Some were dysfunctional. Others were even more dysfunctional. But we made families. We flipped cups, eggs, and pancakes when times were good. And we flipped our fingers when they weren't. But we did it together. All of it. We saw hard exams and walks of shame. We watched Bin Laden's death on CNN and Abu Nazir's on Homeland. Together. We supported the fight for mental health when our campus needed it. And we supported the fight of a professor when he needed us. We shared the Queen's ride together. And what a ride it has been. It wasn't always easy for us, though, as a couple. On our second anniversary, we decided to take a break. With a collective, it's not you, it's me. We went our separate ways for a while. Some stayed close, some went to Australia. Some braved the cold of Scandinavia. Corey went to Barbados. But we knew it wasn't forever, and that somehow it would be good for us. Looking back, it really was. For 6 months, we met new people, saw new places, and tasted new food. We stood atop mountains, amassed photo albums of identical churches. And we updated our statuses instead of sending postcards. We learned complex words in Portuguese, Dutch, and Cantonese. and we forgot simple words in English. We saw more of Europe than Napoleon did. We associated culture with drinking local wine. And we drank as much culture as we could find. We lived life as explorers. We came home to find that the big scary world was not as big or as scary as it seemed, and that we didn't need to run away from ourselves to find ourselves, that we were here for us to find all along. After that, it was a long summer apart. But our third anniversary came, as it always does, and Kingston felt more like home than ever. Individually, we were more alive, and collectively, we were ready to give us another go. We started seeing each other again. We YOLO'd. We celebrated what felt like everything, literally. Monday mornings, because a new week was beginning. Winter days, because they were surprisingly warm. Winter days, because they were surprisingly cold. And Tuesday nights, because we could tumble again. We did work when we had to, and absolutely anything else when we didn't have to. We walked to the water for the sake of it. We ate Menchie's with sprinkles and chocolate sauce on top because frozen yogurt is healthier than ice cream. We lived in the moment because deep down, we knew how special each passing moment was, and we just enjoyed each other. We came to realize that all good things, like a good song, must come to an end, but that we shouldn't pay too much attention to the final note. That really it's the rest of the song we listen to, the fast and the slow parts, the dubstep and the sing-along choruses, the whole song, not the end. With only a few weeks left, we've almost heard it all. But we've listened to the song that is Queen's Commerce together, and we've listened carefully. We've listened so carefully for these last few bars that we almost forgot there would be a final note at all. Ladies and gentlemen, the song is not over. We reflect tonight upon where we are and prepare as best we can for what is next. But before we turn our eyes ahead, let us take one last look back to the Com13 Facebook group from the summer of 2009. As to how nervous or naive we were, let us look no further than the profound questions asked by our then future classmates. I hope you're all shivering in your seats. Does anyone know if we need a cell phone for first year? No, Kenny Chu. A cell phone is not a course requirement. I would love to do some music classes, but wouldn't that lower my credibility? No, Irfan Sharif. That would not lower my credibility. Now don't get me wrong. I mean, some questions were more dramatic. Hey, I just accepted my admission. But I've got myself into a little problem. Well, I've had a few bad calculus tests in a row now. And if it's final marks, let's say I get a 78% or something, will they withdraw my admission? What will I be left with? I have to be honest, I really don't know, Nikki Sani. I don't know. And I say this one loving. Last but certainly least. I was wondering... I was wondering if any older students could tell me some of the more obscure things I will need in terms of school supplies. Obviously, I will need binders, open bracket, what kind do people recommend? Wait, pens, pencils, paper, and such. So, but anything else that one may not immediately think of. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the 21st century, Michael Blair. We don't use binders and pencils so much anymore. We use a device called the computer, and it does it all. As Facebook has shown us in a way that only it can, we have grown. And for 4 years, time has done what it does best. It has passed. We leave Queens to begin what will be the rest of our lives, and we want to know, once again, as much as we can about what is coming. But this time, things are different. This time, there is no Facebook group. There is no welcome committee. This time, we are on our own. But we are on our own together. I could spend these final 2 minutes reverberating 15 quotations and 27 proverbs off these walls. But instead, I want to spend them helping you remember one thing that I hope you never, ever forget. You are here. You are here in this moment, in this hall, on this floor, on this day. You are here. You are not living in the past or living in the future. You are here. You are here right now to cherish the people who have made you who you are, because they are here right now for you. We all do it. We leave important, beautiful things unsaid because we assume we will be here tomorrow to say them. We may not be, or they may not be. But right now we are, so speak. It feels weird at first, and I know that. But I also know it feels better than regret. Tell him you appreciate his friendship. Tell her you think she's perfect. Tell him you think he's kind. Tell her that you like her. Hell, if it feels right, tell her that you love her. We let time pass instead of clawing at every second because we don't let ourselves believe it will end. If our time at Queen's has taught us one thing, it is that it will end. Much faster than we ever thought they would. I can still remember sitting on my bed the day I left for university with a tear in my eye because I didn't want to leave. I stand here tonight, 4 years later, ready to do the same because I don't want to go home. Do I wish I did some things differently? Sure. Do I wish I said some things I never did? Absolutely. But I have the chance. We have the chance right now to live the rest of our lives knowing what it's like to look back on eventful years and wish we did some things differently. And we cannot let that happen again. Tonight we are more than just names, and we are more than just faces. We are future CEOs and future philanthropists. We are future professionals and future parents. We are whatever we have the audacity to become, and for each and every one of you, I cannot wait to see what that is. In the meantime, be weird. Be fun. Or be something, but do not be quiet or normal. Let go of the expectations you have. Remember that you are defined by you and only you. Time you spend looking around is time you could spend moving forward, and that the most important question in life is, am I happy? Remember that no amount of money can buy a good night's sleep or clean conscience, and that a single decision can define you. And most importantly, remember that you are here in this moment, in this hall, on this floor, on this day. You are here. To the professors who have ignited passions in us that will never burn out, and to the best damn graduating class that you guys have ever seen. There is only one simple thing left to say.